Hey guys, sorry, running a little late here. I wasn't even sure if I was gonna go live, but then I was like, yeah, why not? I was gonna do a little work on one of my cars. I figured I may as well go live. Maybe somebody wants to hang out. Nothing special though. Hi, John. So what I'm doing, this is my Viper modified 2.4 ohm level 10 car, club car. But when I built this car, I only had a medium chassis, and it's pretty flexible. Normally when I get up into this class armature and level 10 magnets, I like to go with a firm chassis. So I ordered this from Hardin Creek because he had them in stock. So this is a stiffer, not super stiff. They make one that's even stiffer than this, but this is the firm chassis. So I'm going to transplant all the goodies from this car, from this medium chassis, into this firm chassis. And then I'm going to, well, I also bought another medium chassis just to have a spare one. But you can kind of see how flexible the medium chassis is compared to this firm chassis. It's just harder to twist. There's still some flex to it. It's not super stiff, but definitely stiffer than the medium chassis. And I've already drilled out and pinned the rear axle on this car, so you guys won't get to see that, but you've seen me do that enough. So, and then I think I'm going to take this medium chassis, and I had a bunch of stock Viper 6 ohm armatures, which there's nothing wrong with. These these are brand new armatures. They're just not hot stock balanced armatures. So I think I'm gonna build up. I already had some extra level 4 magnets. I basically had enough parts to build up another level 4 Viper V-Spec type car. So yeah, it's good, but not when you get up into the higher magnet, stronger armature cars, because just the strength of the motor and the magnets can cause the chassis to flex. So you normally go up a stiffness. You could probably get away with running a level 10 car if this was like a Viper modified 3 ohm car. Comes with a medium chassis, I believe. They don't use firm, but with this NSX Turbo 2.4 ohm arm, I'm going to go ahead and put this in the firm chassis. Hey, Kevlar. So that's what I'm up to. Going to take this thing apart real quick. Oh, before I do that, I just want to see what kind of numbers I'm getting with this car. Hopefully I don't make it any worse by swapping it out. So this thing's screaming at 580 on the dyno. Hey, Mark. Hey, MCM. Did I miss anybody else? Sorry, I'm not paying attention to I don't think so. All right. All right. So what was it? What did I say that was? Like 580-ish? Oh, I gotta get my magnet my magnet shims out of here. These are a little bit of a pain. Forgot how I did this. I think I went like this. Yeah. I'm really not going to mess around with this motor assembly. I'm basically taking it out of the one. I'm not taking it apart because I really like how this thing's running. So I'm basically leaving it like that. These magnet shims I got from RPMs, from Roger Purcell's site. They're not legal in every single class, but they are legal. You could use a non-magnetic material on a modified class car. So, yeah, that thing's has a very flexible chassis. All right, so that's our chassis. I'll save that for later. And we've got our firmer chassis. We'll rebuild that. Hey, Mike. Hey, Eastern Plains. Yeah, you want a certain amount of flexibility, but again, it all depends on the car you're building, the strength of the magnets, the strength of the armature. If you're running a Neo class car, you're going to use a stiffer chassis. Usually, the stronger the magnets, the stiffer you go in the chassis material. All right, so let's pop these hangers in. Really shouldn't be anything wrong with these. These are silver hangers. This car is pretty much brand new. It's only been in one race. My club just started racing the modified class, so and we don't always race it. When we were at Terry's track at Hardin Creek, they did race the modified class car. So hopefully the spacing and everything should be the same, but we'll see. We'll see how this thing goes in. All right, motor is in. Yep, spacing looks pretty good. And about 5,000 space there. I like that. Just a little tip, if you're building a Viper and these hangers move at all, then you don't have then the ears on your end bell are like they got pressed in or something. These hangers should really not move when the car is assembled, or you're not going to have a good electrical connection. So, but this is all good. All right. Told you it wouldn't really take long. I am running level 10 max traction magnets in this car. And as you could tell by the rail marks I had, this car pretty low. It was dragging. I bumped it up to 424. I had it a little too low. But this is, yeah, that's the flexible clip. Oh shoot, I think I need to change the timing bracket. I might have to take this thing apart. This is a firmer timing bracket and firmer magnet clip. It's alright, I think I could live with it. Yeah, I'm gonna change it. I want to keep everything that came with this new chassis together. So this firmer magnet clip and this, I'm assuming these are firm. This is a firmer bracket compared to the, well, let's see, let me open up this new medium chassis that I bought. Oh yeah, that's definitely more flexible. So everything is the same compound of as far as what the chassis is made out of. You know. I don't remember when I built this car. It was kind of a hybrid. I had a firm chassis, but it was broken, so I took parts from the firm. This actually might be a firm timing bracket, but I don't know for sure, so I'm gonna swap it out. Well, swap this out real quick. Yeah, you can see that mark is right in the middle, like perfectly spaced. Yeah. Yeah, I think this actually is a firm timing bracket. It feels stiffer, but I'm gonna swap it out anyway. Hopefully the car runs as good as it was. Before, we'll see. Sorry. It's all back in there now. Hey, Jeff. Good afternoon. Where are you at? It's evening here. Hey, John. All right. Put this independent front end back on. All right. That's on good. Getting there. Put my little magnet shims back in. These clip in and the notch goes in where like a NASCAR a Formula One body would clip on, or where your body clip would clip on. This little tab goes in there. So you just gotta kind of wiggle it around a little bit till it clicks in. But this helps the magnets stabilize and not move around as much. Again, not every class you're allowed to run those, so you gotta check the rules. Put our traction magnets back in. Since these are the max traction, they only go in one way. There's only enough space at the shorter end for the magnet clip to hold on. All right. Oh, man, these axle pins are a little hard to get out when you first do them. Man, I already bent that. How did that happen? Somehow I bent a brand new axle pin. I guess putting it in. Gonna have to straighten that out a tiny bit. I'm just gonna bend this a little bit. These pins definitely are a little bit soft. They bend fairly easily. Yeah. This car is running a 22 tooth RPM heavy duty gear, orange gear. This also RPM pinion, 7-tooth pinion gear. Hey, Viper Mike. This rear end feels a little, hopefully it's not too snug. There's a tiny bit of play, but hey, Jim. Let's put these pickup shoes and springs back in. These are 09 silver plated or silver BSRT springs. These were silver plated pickup shoes, but you can see how quickly they're pretty much copper now. I don't know, is it brass or copper? I always forget. I think it's brass, right? Isn't it brass? See, I recommend not doing what I just did. I put bolt springs in and I forgot that spring was in there, and I almost turned the chassis over. I would have lost that spring probably. I've done that in the past, and then it ends up on the floor. I suggest put one spring in and put the pickup shoe on, then put the other spring in. Don't put bolt springs in like I just did. I think these are 330 on the front, actually. This car is pretty low for a Viper, but alright, she's all back together. Sorry, I'm just reading through some of your comments. Paul, the Auto World, you got to tune into Adam's channel for that. I don't specialize in Auto World chassis builds, so you'll have to check out that guy, the original Adam Hurt, for that. See, that's what I was afraid of. Now it's only running a 520. I think this rear axle is tighter in this chassis. I gotta try something out here. This rear axle, I used a new axle condom that RPM sells. Has a stopper on the end. It's a little tricky to build though. You got to put a spacer there as well, and a spacer up against the gear. So again, this is a little tight in this chassis. It's a little annoying. I don't like how the car is running now. I mean, it's still fast, but it's not 580 fast. It's 530. The dyno is made by VRP, is the name of the company. I have no idea, Snuggie. As far as the lap time, what do you think? I time each number I get on the dyno and then put it on the track? Probably not. I mean, 530 is fast. Don't get me wrong. But it's not as fast as the car was before I rebuilt it, so I'm not happy about that. Are you talking about these shims for the magnets? They just help prevent the magnets from moving, so everything's more stable, less vibration in the motor. Nah, I don't track lap times. I mean, I know how fast this car can go lap time wise, but whether there's that much of a difference between a 5.3 and 5.8 on the dyno as far as lap times, probably insignificant, assuming you can keep the car on the track at those speeds. Really not. I don't want to have to take this rear end apart. Kind of annoyed about this. No, that's not going to tell me anything because I don't have a... You know, sometimes you should leave better off alone, right? That old saying. If it's not broke. I'm curious if I put this all back in the medium chassis, what the times would be. not the times, but the number on the dyno. Oh, you mean the spacers on the spacers on the rear end act setup? This spacer? Yeah, you definitely need that to keep the since there's no gear boss on here, you got to make sure you shim this so that you only have the desired amount of back and forth play. You don't want the gears slipping, obviously, but it's a fine line where you could have it too tight and it slows down the car. No, all slot cars need oil. I oil my Vipers. Actually, I'm about to oil this car. I want to try and find a different rear end that's not as tight and see what kind of times I get. Well, still only in the 530 range. I just advanced the timing on the end bell and now I'm in the 570 range again. 565. I'm not happy with this. I want to see something. Sorry, guys. I'm thinking. I'm debating if I want to put this back in the other medium chassis and see how it runs. I do go very sparingly on the end bell side. I don't want too much oil getting in there. Like half a drop. I wonder how this aluminum, there's definitely more play with this rear axle. I don't have any tires on this thing though. I guess I could put some on real quick. These are also RPM. These are their firmest black, RPM blacks. I think that's brand new too. Look at how nice and shiny that tire is. You definitely want to go with a fairly stiff tire on these cars. $540. Not Too bad, but not 580. Could I point out the brushes on the end bell? Sure. Hi, SBS. Hey, Chris. That's all right, Snuggie. I'm going to take this car apart again. Hey, Rick. I know, unfortunately, I can't get a reading. The dyno relies on the wheels spinning that, spinning this to make the dyno give you your number. So if the car is not running, nah, you can't be scared to take your cars apart. This is the most fun part to me. I like to tinker, so I'll be here all night if I have to get this car running the way I want it to. Not that I'll keep you guys on all night, but a lot of times I'll do these videos and end it, and then I'll be here for another hour or so because I'm not happy. I was like that with the car I sent you, Snuggie. This is what the brushes look like, Snuggie. Hopefully you can see that. I can get my phone to focus. They start to get the curve. Once the brushes are broken in, they get a little curve to them. They conform to the shape of the comb. But when if you want to start tweaking the end bell, when you pull one down, the other arm should come down a little bit. And when you go up, same thing. And you want them to kind of meet right in the middle of that opening. See, this could be tweaked a little more. I like for the end of the brush pad to be, when I push this arm down, I don't want to see light through that opening. I want that brush to be covering the hole. So this is not really applying the pressure that I want on the com. So I'm going to tweak this. And to adjust that, you just bend down right at the corner, at the end here. You just put a little pressure down to bend, and you could do the end here too. You got to be careful though, you don't want to go too crazy. There we go. I like that now. See how that's now covering the opening when I push that down, so there's more pressure there's more tension on those arms. Now when you put this back together, you want to be careful with your brush spreading tool. You don't want to spread it too far, because then you could lose all the work you did in tweaking for that extra tension. So you guys are gonna laugh, but I'm putting this back in the medium flex chassis. I want to see how it runs. The car just sounded better before I did all this. It was rock solid on the dyno. It sounded really good. Just, I don't like how it sounds, right? It's just not running as good as it was, unfortunately. What I thought would be a 10-minute thing, simple motor swap. All right, let's put this back together here. So I am just going to ever so gently open this up enough to get the arm in there. Yeah. there's definitely more play in this rear end, in this chassis. And the car just feels smoother and easier to spin than it was in that other. I don't know. Maybe it had to break in. This is kind of a hybrid now because I left the firm timing bracket and the firm magnet clip, but the chassis is flexible, so. Yeah, I picked this up from Pork Chop Custom. Well, it's back up to 5, almost 570. Yeah, it just sounds better. Everything just feels better in this configuration, so I think for now I'm going to leave it. It seems happy. No, they're in. I just put them in. I should have took the orange magnet stabilizers out of the other. I could feel these are a little bit looser in this flexible chassis. They were definitely tight. They weren't moving around. I wonder if these shims were putting too much pressure on the magnets in that firmer chassis. I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah, it's back to, I mean, geez, 560. It was at almost, it was in the 580s before I started, so it's a slight downgrade, but it may warm back up and get back up there. It's almost hitting 560. All right. I think what I'm gonna do. This is my firm chassis, so let me put this back. I'll have to reevaluate if I'm gonna try and switch back to that. I have a second modified car, but it has a firm chassis, so it's not as fast as this car though. But it's good backup. Look at this. Oh yeah, it's in my other car. Yeah, the axle is definitely has more. I mean, you can even see, you could see light in between. This almost maybe has a little too much play, but it's okay. I mean, it's not like the gear's gonna slip, but I like my rear axle to be not too tight. I'd rather it be a little bit loose. Yeah, but this is not this is not like a flexible chassis. I mean, a Viper medium chassis is still a pretty stiff chassis. It's rated up to level 10, which is what this car is. This is the chassis Viper uses for their 3-ohm modified cars. They use a medium chassis. So. And if you look at the description on Hardin Creek's website for the medium chassis, it's rated for a level 10 magnet, but this is a Viper Flex chassis, and this thing is this thing is so flexible. It's ridiculous how squishy this thing is. I notice it's a darker plastic too. This is a gravity car that I had built. Yeah, you would definitely not want to put stronger magnets in this chassis. To your point that it could it could literally like flex the. You can see how easy it is to bend that flexible chassis. This one's definitely stiffer. This car is not that easy to drive, especially at 18.5 volts, this gravity car. You turn the voltage down to like 15, it's much more fun. Because it's still pretty fast. It's still a 6-ohm Viper. All right, let's. I'm going to put together this other car real quick. So this is a Viper medium chassis. And I have this Viper stock V-spec armature. I think this is the armature I took out of this car I sent you, Snuggie. I don't remember. I have several of these, so I figured let me build some cars and put these armatures in them. All right. I am going to change out this little second Teflon spacer. Viper puts two Teflon spacers. I think they put a 10,000ths and a 5,000ths. I'm going to replace that thinner Teflon with a... That might actually be less than 5,000ths. That's pretty thin. But you can see their spacing is pretty much spot on. I mean, those marks are right in the middle of the com. So I'm going to put a metal one on the end. And I will save this Teflon one in my little collection of spacers, Teflon spacers. All right. This is a brand new Viper end bell. I haven't touched, so oh, you know what would be helpful? I guess I need some hangers for this new chassis and a pin. I think I'm just gonna go standard. I guess I need some pickup shoes. I have to figure out. Oh no, actually I do have one more independent front end. This black aluminum. That I was going to use in this car. That's all in there. There's a little bit of extra space in the, could probably get away with putting a, if I really wanted to shim this, could use like a 5,000 spacer in there. Maybe even a 10,000s, but I'm going to start with the 5,000s. Yeah, that's better. All right. These are just stock level 4 traction magnets. I have a bunch of sets of these from all the max traction magnets that I put in some of my Vipers. So I'm going to use this, oh, but I don't want to leave these super firm tires on here, so I got to take those off. Hey, Strip Blazer. Nice to see some new names that I haven't seen before. Sorry guys, I haven't been paying attention to the chat too much. Yeah, they're real easy to build, Snuggie, especially once you've done them a few times. You're not gonna learn unless you do it. Eh, you don't need to be like me. Oh, you know what I was gonna do? Dang it. Oh well. I was gonna put this dual flange bushing, but you know what? I think I'm gonna save that for my next performance hot stock armature. The stock armature, the stock bushing is fine. I have a bunch of those stock bushings. That was my last dual flange one, but I'm going to save that. I'll put that back in the bin. All right, so I'm going to use this rear end that I had built up with Stevens aluminum wheels. We might as well make this car look fancy. Might not be a speed demon, but it's going to look good. See if I can get these really firm tires off of here, off of these rims, without breaking them. These aluminum rims are kind of sharp, so they can definitely tear up your tires, taking them off if you're not careful. Those look good. I'm going to put a pair of albino. I'm going to put these 428s on here. Usually don't go 430, 428. It's about as low as I go on these Vipers usually. These aluminum rims I got from a gentleman named Stephen Petrush. You can email him. I can send you guys his contact information, but Stephen makes these wheels custom in all different types. This is a 3-spoke version. He has 4, 5, 6. He has all different. He makes some really nice rims actually, and what I like is that they're press on, so you can press them on with your standard press that you have. Yeah, it's definitely a good combination. I don't know how I managed to. I bent the heck out of these axle pins putting them in. Okay. All the aluminum rear hubs that I had, I got from Steve Petrush. They all come from the same person. Okay. Well, it doesn't look super great with the black. It would be nice if those were aluminum. I don't have any extra aluminum. I mean, these are aluminum, but I don't know why I bought the black painted one. But at some point, I guess I could swap it out with an aluminum. It'd look better with the natural aluminum like that, with those wheels. But I'm gonna put some low profile pickup shoes. Since I put 428s on here, I'm gonna probably put 340s on the front. So I don't usually use low profile pickup shoes unless I'm using 340 or lower front tires. Oh, I need some pickup shoe springs too. I'm going to use these .09 BSRT. Could probably use 08s, but I ran out of. I have Viper 08s, but I really like these BSRT springs because I really feel like they hold their tension for a long time. This might be a little bit stiff of a spring for this car, but it's alright. I'm not building a race car here. This is more just for playing around. Like a daily driver. Alright, let's see how this thing looks on the. See how it looks on the 414. Oh, I don't have a pin. Hold on. Need a pin. pin is in. Give this thing a little bit of oil. Come on. I don't know, this feels a little. This rear axle feels a little snug. It's a little snuggy. Need to move that pinion gear a little bit. Yeah, those hubs are perfect. Listen, Snuggy, when I build the rear axle, it's perfect. The hubs are perfectly placed. Just to show you, it goes right in. Perfect. All right. Let's see what this thing's saying on the dyno. Not too shabby. Let's see if we advance the timing a little bit. Now this is a brand new end bell. Really should break in the brushes a little bit. Thing's almost hitting a 4. Sounds pretty good. Pretty smooth for a non-balanced. There's a little bit of movement in that. You know, that's what you gain with the balanced armature, but these armatures are not horrible. This will be plenty fast on the track. Oh, I did want to look at something. I do feel like this rear axle is a little tight. There's like almost no back and forth play, which I don't know what's up with that. That's why really when I build a rear axle, I build it for the car that it's gonna go in, because they're all the chassis are a little bit different. It's not too bad. It's a 414 rail. It's almost touching. It's a little lower in the front than it is the rear right now, this car. Let's look at it on 412. Yeah, it's a little bit low in the front. But there's definitely clearance all the way across. Like, these magnets are not touching. They're very close to touching in the front, but it's not quite as level as I would like it to be. So either I have to go lower in the rear or a tiny bit higher in the front. But I could put 345s in the front. I don't think I have any albinoes. I have 420s, but that's too low. These are 428s in the rear. Anyway, let's let this thing break in for a little bit. It's a pretty good running car, actually. I think I'm just going to put a stock Viper rear end, a black hubs to match the black independent front end. So when I burn this in, I take the rear axle out first. Actually, I like to burn it in at neutral timing. I set my supply to about 8 volts, and I put the switch down, which is, I believe, applies 5 volts when the switch is down. So. And then I'll put the rear end setup in and let it run a little bit under load as well. I usually let this run for like at least 30 minutes to break in those brushes. You could let it break in longer if you want, but I'm gonna take these albinos off. I'm gonna save this aluminum rear end for a different car. Question is, do I have... Yeah, those damn aluminum, these lips on these aluminum wheels chew up these tires. They're still good. Let's see what I have for a different rear end for this car. Whoa, sorry, I hit the camera. Thanks, Snuggie. Have a good night. While that's burning in, I'm going to build a rear axle setup real quick for this car. Oh man, where's the top to my oiler? I hate that. I hate when I misplace that. There it is. Good. take these hubs off of here. These were actually, Steven sent me these to test. These are very light. I think these were magnesium, made out of magnesium, not aluminum. They tarnished really badly. But these things those were super light, those magnesium wheels. I might be able to just reuse this whole, this is a hardened Viper, that's a 22 tooth gear. I think I want to put a 23 tooth gear on there. So I'm going to change the gear. So Steven actually built this wheel puller that he sent me. It has a little bit stronger, what do you call this, the part that, the pin that pushes the axle. He said you might damage the, like, Hardin Creek or Viper wheel puller on his aluminum hub. You can press them on with that. I've pressed them on with no issue. But he sent me this, so I'm going to use it. But I want to reuse this axle. This is a good axle. It's a Viper hardened spined axle. Actually, this is coming off pretty easy. I bet you I could have just used my other my Hardin Creek puller. Try my Hardin Creek puller on the other side. Oh yeah, that's pushing that out fine. Thanks, Jim. Have a good night. Sorry, guys. My workbench is getting a little cluttered here. I don't really have a puller that's designed specifically for gears, but I make do with this press. Actually, I used the wrong, hold on, that was the wrong end there. does fit in. Okay, thought it did. All right, let me get a 23 tooth here. All right. Hey, Rich. All right, I'm getting tired of hearing this chassis burning in, so I'm going to take that off right now. So when you build these rear ends, if you're using a Viper axle, it's got a longer, one side is longer than the other on the knurl. The teeth want to face the longer side. So I'm gonna put this like this. Actually, I like to use my other adapter for that. I use this to press on my silly sponge tires on my Fusions, but it works pretty good to hold when I'm putting gears on. This is kind of my makeshift gear press. I just want to make sure that everything's pretty level before you start pushing that in there. I usually bring the gear like all the way to the end of the gnarled spot. It usually positions it pretty good, like right up to the end. Like that, so you don't see any of the gnarl sticking out of the gear. And then we can take our spacers. I'm gonna space this just for this axle, so I know it chassis, so I know it'll be the fit that I want. Yeah, it's pretty good, just like that. And you want to try and get obviously the same amount of axle sticking out. It looks like this side's a little bit longer. I think I could actually press this in a little bit more. Yeah. I'm gonna go too much because it was pretty close. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Still looks like it could go just a tiny bit more. Yeah, that's good. And it looks like this has a 15 thousandths. I could use a little bit more. I'm going to take this really thin spacer off. That looks like a 3 thousandths. I'm going to put a 5 thousandths on. I just got a bunch of these rear axle spacers from Terry from Hardin Creek. I got them in 20, 15, 10, 5, and 3. So I have about every size I could need now. Yeah, that's good. All right. I look for, let's see if I can. I don't know if you could see that, but I have about probably 5 thousandths space there. I like to actually feel that this axle's moving a little bit back and forth. Some guys go pretty tight, some guys like to go even looser, but if you go too tight, when the chassis flexes, you have a chance of it binding, but yeah, I'm fine. For this car, I'm fine with that. This car's a little bit tighter, my race car. This might be a tad bit more slop in it than I would put on my club cars, but it's not horrible. No, not necessarily. Just it's really more preference. I just don't want it to be too tight. I'd rather have it be a little bit loose than it be too tight, because too tight's bad. Now I gotta find some 250 hubs, which I should have a whole bunch of in here. Let me just measure these real quick. I do have some 275s mixed in with these 250s. So let's see. Yeah, that's a 250. So is that. So those should be good. Make sure they aren't cracked or anything. Shouldn't be. They look good. All right. Again, just make sure that's everything's nice and level. Looks pretty good. When you use a Viper axle and Viper hubs, you can kind of bring it so that the axle is flush. This can probably go in just a tiny bit more. We'll see how it looks on the setup block or the tech block once I'm done with this. A little too far. Good. Let's check it. Not that I'm going to be racing this car in the club, but I always like to make sure they're legal. I think there's actually a good amount of play in there. I could probably pull these out a little bit. Let's see how close. Yeah, that's pretty close. Definitely very close on that side. Out a tiny bit on each side. this side out just a tiny bit. Okay. That looks good. Put these, oops. Put these 428 albinos back on. And we're gonna put 345s on the front rather than 340. Uh-oh. I only have one pair of 345s left. I guess I gotta order some. But I think this car is going to sit perfect with 345s and these 428 rears. Yep, that looks good. It's perfectly level now, the space, the magnet. Yeah, I like that. I'm going to change these pickup shoes to standard profile though. These front tires aren't low enough to really need low profile. What is the measurement on the tech block? Hey, Kenny. I need to work in the Auto World QC department. This tech block. Hold on. I forget the exact measurement. What did I do with my caliper? Put it away. looks like it's 1.3 inches. Let me look it up on, I got that from Wizard. Yeah, it's 1.3125. 1.31 inches is HO block. Or to be precise, 1.3125. If you want to get super technical. All right. I think yeah, look at that, a little breaking in, and this thing's hitting over a 4. 399. For a stock 6-ohm armature. Pretty happy with that. That's going to be a good running little car. Have to find a body for it. And it'll probably run even faster once the brushes break in even more. But see, when I don't care about the build, it comes out perfect first try. If I was building a race car, it probably would run like crap. But that's basically a Viper V-Spec right there. That's what you would get from minus the independent front end, but everything else is stock. Exactly what you would get for a Viper V-Spec. Other than the albino tires as well, but not that I really need another Viper. I think I have, I don't know, probably 25 Vipers now. Let me count how many Vipers I have. I got 2 IROC sets. I got 4 Viper modifieds, 4 Viper V-Specs. So that's 8 right there. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, I have over 20 Vipers. This chassis, well, a stock V-Spec is actually only $45, with no body. With the standard Viper O-ring front end. This independent front end is only like $7-8 without the tire. This is like a $10 upgrade, including the tires for this independent front end. So you're looking at Well, and the albino tires are $4. So yeah, probably in this configuration, this is almost now like a $60 car, $60 chassis. 0.355. What's 0.355? I missed what you guys are talking. 1/5/16. I can make them cheaper. The front wheel size, these are 0.345s on this car. Usually on your home AFX track, I would go at like 0.350 to 0.360, depending on your rails, and maybe like 438 to 440. I think 0.438 and 0.350 is a pretty good setup for your home track. Viper sells their cars with 0.350 O-ring front and 444 actually on the rear on their V-specs and a medium chassis. They raised the price. It's $49. Oh, sorry, I'm yawning. What? It's almost 10 o'clock? God, it's been on for 2 hours. Time flies when you're having fun. I see they changed their website a little bit. I haven't been on their website. Well, I was on their website like a week or so ago. Shop, race ready cars, Viper. V-spec. Oh yeah, 49.90. Was it always 49.95 or was it 45.95? I thought it was 45.95. First arm, the arm in my modified car. You mean this arm? This is a 2.4 ohm armature. This is a Turbo NSX armature from Hardin Creek. It's like a $35 armature actually. It's pretty expensive, but it's balanced and trued and epoxied and all that good stuff. Pretty good armature. Yeah, it's about what I would think, Mike. 340 to 350. 340 might be a tad low depending on your rails, but if you like it low, then yep, 340 is good. I run 340s a lot on my routed track on my Vipers. Yeah, they sell the armature separately. Well, you can't. Viper only makes certain cars that are ready to run. They make a number of different cars. Their standard cheapest car is the V spec, which is basically what you're looking at here. It has a 6 ohm non balanced. This armature is only like, I think, what, less than $10, like $6. Well, here, let's. I'm actually on Viper's site. Shop by car type. Let's shop by Viper. Let's do electrical. Let's do armatures. Be able to see my laptop screen here. So they have all the way down to 1.5 ohm, 2.5 ohm modified class, 2.5 ohm wide gap balanced arm 35. That's similar to what's in my modified car. Similar price range. This is the one I get, the 5.8 ohm hot stock armature balanced. It's about a $19 armature. This is the stock armature, $6.50. So that's the armature I just put in that car. So, oh wow, they have a 5.8 ohm super stock for the Super 7. A $10 motor box to upgrade your. That's kind of cool. I might have to get one of those. Is that their drag racing league that Dan's got going there? I've watched a few of his videos. No, I'm not really a drag racing kind of guy, but you never know. I haven't really watched too much of that SCDRL as far as what's involved in entering that, and I'd have to look up the rules and stuff, but if I built a drag car, I would build it specific. I don't have a drag strip here, and I don't race competitively drag race, so I would literally be building it just to send to Viper. But yeah, I'm sure it is. All right, guys. Well, this was fun. I always enjoy building Vipers. I might actually tear this car apart and play around with it. Probably not tonight. I'm getting a little tired, but I do want to put this in the firmer chassis, so it just sounds and runs so much better in this chassis. Which it's probably fine in that medium chassis, but most guys run the firm, either a BSRT stiff or a Viper firm chassis in this class, but 1.5 ohm. Yeah, that's a little. Yeah, for drag racing, I could see 1.5 ohm, but I can't use that in any of the classes I race in. That would probably get a little toasty running around a road course at 1.5 ohms, but I don't remember if that was 3.6 ohm. I do have another. This is my lowest ohm armature car. This is also a NSX. This is a 2 ohm. So this is 2.5 because this is hopper legal for, you can go down to 2.4 in modified class. But this is a Neo magnet, level 35 Neo car with a 2 ohm armature. I have this a little bit higher with 275 hubs. I don't know how, I haven't run this car in quite a while, I'm not even sure. Yeah, so this thing is up over 6 on the dyno with the 2 ohm one. Getting faster. This thing's ridiculously fast. It's a little scary actually, because when it does break loose, it goes clean across my my garage. Send it to the drag race. It's not built to be a drag race car though. That's a road racing car. Not that it wouldn't be fast. I'd have to change the gearing, then I could send it as dragster. Have a good night, Mike. Yeah, I'm getting ready to sign off myself, so I gotta clean up my mess here. I got parts everywhere on the bench, so I gotta put all this. I gotta put all these tools away and everything and clean up. So before I turn in. Stuck to your ductwork in your basement. See you, Viper Mike. Have a good night. All right, guys, I think I'm going to call it here. It's almost 10 o'clock, so. Anytime. Thanks, Pat. I'll let you guys know what I decide or do with this modified car. I want to try and, I think I need to build a different rear end, one that's a little bit looser for that firm chassis, because I think that's what was slowing the car down a little bit. Just was a little too tight. So, all right, guys, have a good night, and we'll talk with everybody soon. Take care.